Who is going to win this year's Eurovision Song Contest? I'm about to tell you. What's up Eurovision people, my name is Sean and on my channel I talk about all things Eurovision. The $1,000,000 question, who's gonna win this year's Eurovision Song Contest? I'm gonna break it down to you, or at least I'm gonna attempt to break it down to you. I do have some predictions that could or could not come true, but buckle up because we're gonna discuss who are our candidates to take the trophy for Eurovision 2025. But before I do so, come and subscribe to my channel. Why? Because you love Eurovision, and I do too. And I'm here bringing you free content, honest content for you to enjoy during this bit of a vacuum period for Eurovision. The pre-parties are over, rehearsals are still a couple of weeks away. So these 2 weeks we can really get down and discuss what we're gonna think is gonna happen, what we think is gonna happen. And yeah, these videos are bringing to you the content that you want. So come and subscribe. Subscribes are free. And come and follow me on all sorts of social media where we can take this conversation further. This video is being brought to you by Eurofans Club. Eurofans Club will be hosting multiple events in Eurovision Week in Basel. They will be streaming both semi-finals and there will be parties after that. I will be there on both semi-finals. I'll be watching the semi-finals and I will be reacting live to the qualifiers in Eurofans Club. So if you guys want to come and join us on the 13th and on the 15th of May, check out their Instagram page where you can get tickets to their events. At the time of filming this video, there seems to be two frontrunners on the betting odds to win Eurovision, and they are Sweden and Austria. For us to understand who has the best chance of winning, we need to see what the jury is going to vote for and what the televote is going to vote for. Let's start with the jury. I think there are 3 countries that are battling out for that top spot in the jury, and they are Austria, France, and the Netherlands. Austria is the overwhelming favorite to win the jury, and I think it could do so in a Nemo fashion, where they get more than 350 jury points, and they could run away with it so far that regardless of where they come in the televote, they would win. Could that happen? I do see it happening. However, there are many arguments that make sense that say that that might not be such an easy possibility. And for that reason, we have to factor in France and the Netherlands. I do think France could win the jury. France has the overall appeal that jurors across all sides of Europe. And we've seen this last year with Slimane. Even though he didn't win the jury, he got points from the Balkans, he got points from the Nordics, he got points from Western Europe, he got points from Eastern Europe. He was an overall package that a lot of jurors actually went for. And I could see this being translated in a bigger way for Luan and Maman to win the jury vote. I think the Netherlands needs to be talked about as well here. This is a very traditionally jury-friendly song. It is very radio-friendly. And it is what typical jurors tend to vote for. It doesn't mean that if one of these 3 countries wins the jury, the other one is going to come second and the other one's going to come third. It could be a scenario where, like I said, if Austria runs away with it, then anything could happen. If the Netherlands win the jury, like I said, I don't think that it's going to be the only country that the jurors pick up their pens for. In this scenario, just by talking about these 3 countries, Austria is the one that could win Eurovision the most with the strength of the jury, because I think Austria from these 3 countries has the potential to run away with most jury points. I'm not sure if France or the Netherlands can do the same thing, but that doesn't mean they can't win the jury. I think if France or the Netherlands won the jury, it would be in a way that John Steers won the jury in 2021, whereas it was not a runaway win, but it was quite close with Barbara Pravi. But I think those 3 countries are battling out to take that #1 spot from the jury. Now let's talk about the televote. I actually have a very, very clear prediction on who's going to win the televote. And because this year we don't have that many televote friendly songs like we did last year, I think the televote is just going to overwhelmingly pick Israel as their winner. New day will rise. Do I want to see it happen? Possibly not, even though I think it's a very good song. I don't think it is the best one, and I don't think that if it won the televote, it would be purely on the merits of the song. I try as much as I can on my content to keep politics out of Eurovision, more than Eurovision itself. I don't want to dig into why Israel would win the televote, but it's pretty obvious. We have to be realistic here. Last year, they almost did.
In the end, they didn't.
It's hard to assess this just talking about the songs and the odds. But I do think Israel is the number one candidate to win the televote. But I think Sweden could also challenge. A lot of people seem convinced that Sweden is going to win the televote just off of the viral quality of bara, bada, bastu and because of how televote friendly it is. But there is one thing that makes me a little bit skeptical to say that Sweden is going to win the televote. There is an expectancy that people vote on. There is an idea that when people sit down and they watch Eurovision, what in their minds counts as Sweden, if it doesn't come to fruition on the performance and on the song, they might like it, but they might not vote for it. It happened, I think, with Spain in 2022 and 2023. Chanel was the epitome of what people expect from Spain, knowing anything they do about Spanish culture, Spanish dance, Spanish music. They expect that kind of product from Spain, and it did very, very well in the televote. And the next year, Blanca Paloma came last. Was it a bad song? No, it was my favorite. But it wasn't what people expect to see from Spain at Eurovision. And even though they might not have hated it, they wouldn't necessarily vote for it. So I do think Sweden will be liked by a lot of people. I do think Sweden is going to be very, very competitive in the televote. We're not going to be Blanca Paloma over here. But for a win, I think that expectancy theory could play against them. So for that reason, I'm not exactly convinced Sweden is going to win or has chances to win the televote as much as Israel, but it's certainly there. It could happen. I'm sat here trying to give you guys a prediction, and if you ask me, I think Israel has more of a chance to win the televote than Sweden. There is one more country that I think could do very well in the televote, and is probably the least likely to win the televote from the ones that I mentioned, but I do think it's going to be very, very, very competitive, and people are not talking about it enough, and that is Estonia. Yeah, I think Estonia could really pull off a shock televote win. And I say shock because they would have to triumph over Israel and over Sweden. I could genuinely see it happen. I think the tongue-in-cheek quality of Estonia could be preferred over the one from Sweden. I do think that Estonia straddles along multiple cultures. It is a very immediate song. I think the melody is really gripping, and that will be the first kind of pull that the song has over the viewers. And we also have to talk about the trolling quality of Tommy Cash. I mean, he's playing a persona here, and I think people do like that bit of unseriousness in a Eurovision song. People like that idea that this is not reality. For 2 hours in a year, we're sat watching Eurovision, and it's not necessarily something that is going to make us aware or make us think about something that is real. It is a fun entry that is immediate, that is probably going to give us a visual feast, and I do think that could actually latch on to enough viewers for this to win the televote. Between Israel, Sweden and Estonia, I think Estonia would be the most shocking televote winner from these three, but it could happen. Those are the three jury potential winners and the three televote winners that I have outlined in this prediction. However, I did say that they are not necessarily the top three of each segment. For example, in the televote, I could see Albania doing really well and shocking everyone and getting more than 250 points, and that could get Albania in the top three. But ultimately, I don't think Albania stands a chance to win Eurovision. We have had years where the winner did not win the jury or the televote. And if I remember well, it happened twice in 2016 and in 2019. Jamala came second in the televote and in the jury and ended up winning Eurovision. And Duncan Lawrence came second in the televote and third in the jury and ended up winning the Eurovision Song Contest. And if there is a country that I could see getting enough points from both segments and triumphing everyone else, that country is Finland. I have to admit, this is a bit of an outside possibility because I think Finland would need to have a staging and a visual narrative that is really going to translate the message of the song into being not raunchy, but more of a true, inspiring story. And that is not an easy thing to do. However, I do see sometimes that Eurovision travels in a direction when it's this country's turn to win, and next year it's this country's turn to win. And Finland have been consistent for so many years, it might just be their turn to win. If all the stars align, I think what has to happen is this. Let's say Austria wins the jury. Austria will have to come outside of the top 5 in the televote for them to be outside of contention to win. And then let's say Israel wins the televote. They would have to come outside of the top 5 from the jury as well. And that could happen. Sweden then would have to be quite low in the jury for them not to win. And they would have to not win the televote as well. There has to be a lot of countries, failing to meet expectations for Finland to win. But if there is one country that I think could get a consistent score within both segments, I think that country is Finland. Let me answer the question. Who is going to win Eurovision 2025? I actually mentioned 8 countries. I don't think the Netherlands is going to win. I don't think France is going to win. I think France will not have a strong enough televote to win. I don't think Estonia is going to win because I think they will do poorly in the jury. I don't think Albania is going to win because the jury will just not let that happen. I don't think Israel is going to win because the jury will not let that happen. Ultimately, we're just left with Austria, Sweden and Finland. And I don't think the televote is going to pick up for Austria enough to win. For Austria to win Eurovision, the jury has to give it more than 350 points. It could happen, but there would have to be some serious questions raised about the independent nature of the juries if for the third year in a row, 22 or 23 countries out of 37 have to give the same country 12 points. I think that would be quite questionable. So let's just put Austria out for a while. It comes down to Sweden and Finland, really. Sweden could actually pull off second or third place in the jury. Sweden could also be a compromise winner, to be honest. If they come second in the televote and second or third in the jury, I think Sweden could be a compromise winner. But Finland, the stars could align and we could see Finland win. So if it's between Sweden and Finland, for now, the prediction I'm gonna make is that Sweden is going to win Eurovision 2025. However, I have explained all the different possibilities enough to say that it doesn't mean that this is a guaranteed for Sweden. Obviously, they are comfortably leading in the betting odds right now. Croatia was comfortably leading the betting odds last year, 5 minutes before the results, and they didn't win. I think Sweden and Finland are the 2 songs that have the biggest chance, even though Finland is not so high in the odds. Ultimately, for now, my prediction is going to be that we're going to Stockholm next year. That's my prediction. What do you guys think? I'm really curious to know what you think about this prediction. I'm really curious to know who do you think is going to win Eurovision 2025. Come and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Obviously, don't forget to come and subscribe to my channel because my content is honest. Subscribes are free, but we don't have that much Eurovision content right now. So come and subscribe and come follow me on all sorts of social media where we can take the conversation further. I will see you later. Bye bye.